Hello and welcome to Nual. I'll keep it short and keep it simple. My wife and I have been separated for 3 months now, and it's been quite the journey. We hit our 12th anniversary back in May, and it's been a roller coaster ride. We share an 8-year-old daughter, which adds another layer of complexity to the situation. Reflecting on the past, the initial 9 years of our marriage were pretty good. For some necessary background, I've been working as an anesthesiologist at the same hospital for a decade. Now, let me share some observations and lessons I've learned during this separation. I've come across a fair share of 42-year-old women who put in a tremendous effort to maintain their looks, hitting the gym, watching their diet, attending to every detail from hair to nails to clothing. And yes, they do look fantastic. But as much as they work hard, the reality is, they might be past their prime. In the midst of all this, the question arises, what do you bring to the table in such a situation? It's not just about appearances, there's more to consider. And then there's the phenomenon of people assuming they can always come back if things don't work out elsewhere. It's as if they believe the nice guys will be there, ready to take them back, regardless of how poorly they've been treated. I've also observed the dynamics of being too nice and compliant in relationships. It seems that such behavior can inadvertently encourage partners to take advantage. It's a tricky balance to strike, being kind and understanding, but not at the expense of being a doormat. Now, fast-forwarding to my own situation, being separated for 3 months has provided a lot of time for introspection. It's a challenging period, but there are valuable lessons to be learned. I'm navigating through this with my daughter in mind, trying to make the best decisions for both of us. Life is unpredictable, and relationships even more so. I'm learning, growing, and hopefully, emerging from this experience wiser than before. So, as I reflect on the past, it's clear that things took a turn for the worse around our 10th year of marriage. My wife, who used to be someone I recognized, underwent a transformation that left me bewildered. While I'm more on the introverted side, our dynamic worked well until it didn't. I used to love coming home after a stressful day at work, but something changed. Instead of heading straight home, I found myself sitting in the hospital parking lot, doing anything and everything to delay facing what awaited me at home. It's a scenario that sounds all too familiar, guys stopping at the bar before heading home to avoid the challenges of dealing with a difficult partner. She started criticizing everything, making cruel comments that cut deep. According to her, I was boring, my expressions were annoying, and she hated everything about me. Even my risk-averse nature became a point of contention. Apparently, I should quit my stable job at the hospital and venture into self-employment as an anesthesiologist. Now, the big question is, why did I put up with this? Why didn't I stand up for myself? The answer, according to the narrator, is summed up in 2 words: nice guy. Nice guys, as I put it, don't stand up for themselves. They let themselves be walked over, and that passive behavior only invites more bullying. It's a familiar pattern throughout history, passivity often invites aggression. She even went on to tell me that I never wanted anything better for myself, and she couldn't stand that I was content with an upper-middle-class life. According to her, our life was just a slightly better version of average. A slightly bigger house, slightly better vacations, but still very average. It's a tough situation to be in, and it's clear that the dynamic in our marriage needs to change. Standing up for myself and asserting my needs seems like a necessary step, even though it might be challenging. There's a lot to unpack, and the path forward is uncertain. But one thing's for sure, maintaining the status quo isn't an option anymore. It's clear that my wife's expectations stretch beyond our comfortable upper-middle-class lifestyle, and despite my efforts to make her happy, there's an unrelenting desire for more. The narrator raises a valid point. Am I inadvertently rewarding bad behavior by constantly agreeing to vacations and surprises? It's a hard truth to digest, but perhaps a necessary one. Standing up for myself seems crucial at this point, especially if I want to break free from this cycle of dissatisfaction. Financially, being an anesthesiologist provides a good living, and yes, I acknowledge that being self-employed might increase my income. However, it's not a path everyone can or should take. The uncertainty of running a business is not for the faint of heart, and I've chosen a stable job for valid reasons. Despite my best efforts to keep the flame alive, the relationship is deteriorating. It's disheartening to witness sudden bursts of affection followed by relentless criticism and anger. I suggested therapy or a life coach, genuinely believing it could help, but the narrator expresses doubt about the effectiveness of such measures. Then came that unexpected text at work, a bombshell that shattered whatever semblance of normalcy remained. She confessed to falling out of love and urged me to consider co-parenting because, in her words, it was over. So here I am, still trying to wrap my head around the abrupt end to our 10-year marriage. A text saying it's over, and to top it off, she's the one moving out, leaving our daughter behind without a seeming care in the world. It's a gut punch, and it becomes apparent that something is amiss. As suspicions grew, I decided to hire a private investigator. She claimed to be subletting an apartment from a friend, but it turns out she was living somewhere else most of the time. The truth unraveled, revealing an affair with an acquaintance of mine, someone whose family was close to some of my other friends. A real nice guy move, isn't it? Discovering that an acquaintance is involved with your wife is a level of betrayal. Despite her insistence that there was no affair, evidence suggested otherwise. She had already filed for divorce just a week and a half after dropping the bombshell. The lies continued as she used the sublet apartment for visitation with our daughter, all while denying any involvement with the other man. Given her behavior, one might expect me to react with indifference, maybe even relief. But no, I was devastated. The unraveling truth started to make too much sense. The other man, a 46-year-old businessman with 4 seven-figure businesses, involved in real estate, charming but known for short-lived romantic relationships, wealthy and apparently the source of all the discontent about my income and lifestyle. With this revelation, I decided to lawyer up and respond to the divorce complaint. The fight for custody began, and things were taking a turn for the ugly. It's a painful chapter, and the road ahead is uncertain, but the fight for justice and the well-being of my daughter is non-negotiable. So here I am, dealing with a revelation that adds another layer of complexity to this already messy situation. A week after she dropped the bombshell and as I was dropping off our daughter, she invites me inside. The very act of me immediately going and speaks volumes about the lingering dynamics. And then it all spills out. She admits to the affair, confessing that it started emotionally in the first year and escalated to a physical level for the next 2 years, a 3-year-long affair. A real punch to the gut, considering the initial 9 years were supposedly great. It's a common shock for many guys who believe everything is fine until reality hits. Now, she's claiming midlife insanity, expressing remorse because apparently, I was 90 above reproach as a husband and a person. Suddenly, she wants to come back, but there's no way I'm buying into that. After all the insults, the hatred she claimed for various aspects of my life, the sudden desire for reconciliation seems suspect. Mr. Chad and Tyrone, the multimillionaire with 4 businesses, got bored with her. The delusional perception of self-worth might have hit a harsh reality check. Now, at 42, she's coming back, realizing that her perception of her nice guy husband as someone she can walk all over might be her safest bet. She claims the affair is over, but a little digging reveals her affair partner's stance. No commitment, no desire for children, just a clean break. The typical Chad and Tyrone move, as the narrator describes it. Successful, but still fitting the bad boy archetype. And now, done with her. As we call it, pump and dump tactic. She throws in the promise of counseling and expresses a desire to withdraw the divorce case. My response is honest. I need time to think, to process the hurt that this revelation has cost. My inner voice is screaming at me and telling me to kick her in the face and ask her to suck on Tyrone's sausage and better choke on it. She can go to hell for all I care, but I need to do something for my daughter. I need to give her a clean home. When she grows up and asks me why I left her mother, I'll let her know the truth. Your mom was having an affair. She was effing some dude for 3 years and ended the marriage and walked away without care in the world towards you. You must be wondering, what did I do next? Just what you were thinking, I dumped her and moved on with my daughter. Life is better when you keep it simple.